Hello, yeah, great.
Hold on a sec. Okay, please join me in welcoming Roberta Gould.
Thank you, Bill, for carrying on with poetry. Vivi, who's aside from being a poet and educator, is an organizer. She takes something and makes out of nothing something. Many organizations that help people in this area. Okay, I'm going to read a variety, a little bit from the various books and then some new poems. And the first poem is about, it's because of spring. I'm reading this after the weather we had the other day, and I'm timing myself very nicely. It comes from three poems called Three Hallelujahs, and this was the first one. If sun hadn't blissed the snow, if sun hadn't blissed the snow, the day would have seemed much longer. No shadows, no rippling light on the road, and more subtle gradations into the mountainous distance. But joy is not contingent upon weather. The sun prods smiles to flower through a yellow car's window, and honking geese cleave a sky's gray monotone. Snow, cloud, or sun, only the settings for each day's mysteries. The rain of willow wood near the pond that may green its life back when chipmunks dare their eyes up and light's cord is held, the sky fading over its mauve sash in that pause when all things are possible and wolves used to sing.
Yeah.
From my first book, it's published by Four Zoas. I met a man in a fair and he said, "Oh, I like your poem. You want to have a book?" Yeah, okay. I don't know where he is, Dan. Easter Sunday, 1971. Excuse me if I inhale with the flowers, a reminder of how hell is flaring. An infant loses his eyes now, wiped out this afternoon. Fall back to your spring musings, 10,000 potted plants up the avenue of the Americas, a motor launch crossing its lake. If I spoil your day, presenting blood with the flowers, please bear me no grudge.
Nice.
This poem is called Japanese. I was thinking of this wonderful movie by Ozu. I think it was Ozu. This elderly couple, or maybe it's Kurosawa, an elderly couple, they go to the mountain, they're getting old, they're going to die. He's so beautiful, those old Japanese movies, Ozu and Kurosawa, Japanese. When they stare over the terrace into the endless sky, or die together in the snow, I remember a pony from the south and a child in red holding birds. Yes, it is easier not to reach Fuji and to rise from its peak as mist.
Nice.
Riding air written water. This called the chickpeas, and this poem is sort of a metaphor. I mean, I guess, spilled through the funnel, they fall, the chickpeas, into the destined bottle, each one revealing a verse, joined to the next one, lying over and under it. Rounds of birth, death, birth, they tell where they are going and their dark original home. Listen, each common being of the epic constellated tells its secret. There were 11 poems after Kandinsky improvisations, which I wrote when I took off a year from being a Spanish teacher, and I was renting a room somewhere, and there's a wonderful book of Kandinsky improvisations. So I wrote these poems, which let me take off on my own, and they do not purport to be visual representations of abstract art, but what they did to me. The first one, I'll read about 5. When whales flew over leaning castles, and there's the word peace, Peace. When whales flew over leaning castles that fell east, and off the flat earth where they drowned in seas cannon were pushed across, and the sky was a presage of doom, heaven's green bearing itself to the flock ranked humbly below. Do you notice the peace on that yellow hill, on the unsettled side of the valley? Did you see the cloud signal to go there? Why didn't you go there?
Very nice.
An antlered branch, 4 an antlered branch of the circle tree sings hearts to the moon, and all the fruits in paradise rise, and every form of geometry. On a transparent bough, the unborn snow lies dreaming. In the round, within the hand, where 3 moons bloom, what tower, what flower? 9, a wedge of golden melon in a spiraling garden of raspberries. Indigo strings announcing the harp's new year. The sun rising huge, lines of migrating birds abandoning winter, unwilling to smash on the castle's red ramparts once more. These poems have a political undertow, you know. The last one is called The Sun Has Wings. The sun has wings which 3 high hoops witness. Pastel streamers celebrate this. A green railing near dreamed Venus curves with its long echo, orbiting the moon of her moon. It's really a happy kitchen. Each worm in the cabbage is joyous. Each sawtooth form smiles freely. Even the question mark shimmers, flexed to new functions. On the fluid staircase, an eel sings, accompanied by fruit, configured in the polychrome sweep of music's new clef. If you wish to dance the collapsible stage, put on your mock mustache and hold the strings tightly. We'll say the globes are balloons, and you the anchor of their universe. Or, when you sleep, that the floor rises to give praise under the green banner of exhilaration. And a last poem from this book, an ancient scroll. I saw this scroll in a Philadelphia big museum. It was an ancient Japanese scroll. And I wrote this poem, which simply describes the painting in this case, yes. An ancient scroll, Kyoto burning, waves of soldiers fleeing, a rush from the pavilion, rows of bodies over hedges leaping off the edge, observing, I stand 1,000 years ahead, their burning eyes. Dear Robert Milby, who left us.
Yeah.
It couldn't have happened to a nicer guy, and he had such a painful death. He did everything for others and for poetry. He was an extremely lovely person, and he did a lot for poetry, organized, set people in up readings, encouraged people. Everyone misses him, except some people who may have forgotten him in their competitive moments of doing him harm. but we won't go into that. And this poem is called Onion in this book. Oh, so Robert said, why don't you send something to Foothills Press? So I sent something and they took it. I read this poem at the Colony when you were with hosting. Onion. It did what I always wanted, gave with proper restraint, didn't make me cry. It was good. So I cut it up grateful and happy, did not ask if I gave pain, trusting it felt nothing, the world was mine. Trees blooming, tulips impending, morning surprise. And I ate its seared flesh with delectation, drank the white blood that had oozed from its soft flesh, leaving me dry-eyed and comfortable. I, queen, savoring its life.
Nice.
This poem, it's sort of a story poem. I thought I would leave it out, but I think I'll leave it in. It's a story poem. I went to Mexico. It's called Travelogue. I'll read it fast. This is the street where the dead people lived. They lived here when they were living. Over there is a fence around a clothesline on a roof where the cats lived, the ones who were really servants. Behind the big monument, 3 blocks north, thanks, an opaque glass front door greets the street. A family lived there, one that's no longer living, except for a son who can't speak any longer. I'm back. Look the place over, stir memory, and come up with a special soup, which is another illusion. Carlos passes with a shopping bag and no teeth. He carries the blouses I gave him to a family in a cinder block house and to a team of young women at the Red Cross. We get there by bus. The micro costs double, and I can't offer him the fare. At 6:30 next morning, the street below the hotel window is teeming with newspaper vendors. They assemble the sections of the morning edition and depart. I watch them as I brush my hair in the room with the 2 double windows and wide bed. Otherwise, everything's the same. As the sun pours in, miracle, burning off the final traces of my body's dead skin. That was when I went back to Mexico for the umpteenth time. We have something here. Oh, this is a little dog poem. I have a book called To the Dogs, but here's a dog poem. Little dog run. I didn't let the little dog rest. Restless, I got up 4 times an hour to look for her candy medicine or to putter in the kitchen. As dawn approached, I poured myself a shot. Weariness wasn't lacking, but it had small effect. So I turned on the radio and kept going till the new day began. I stopped then, looked up where I had left off the day before, free of words finally, the body's needs muted, and watched the little dog asleep beside me quiver and start to run in the air in a dream. Hey, from Woven Lightning, about 4 years ago. Excuse me. Intent. It took the same intensity as making a bomb. Nothing could stop her on her knees, searching beneath the refrigerator for the pin that always had been swept under. Concentration of a cat, persistence of an ant carrying a ton on its back. Is this what one does with a life? Someone asked. An hour devoted to finding nothing valuable? just to meet the challenge, fail with awareness, and to stop, ready for the next round of time. Stones. Stones I am holding spill from my hands, fall to the ground in their stubborn form, not humble like me, who honors even death. Little do they know the dust they shall be when the eons pass and no one's left talking. Still I am angry and kick one down the hill, hasten its change to pebble, to gravel, envying its sureness, I who know it will change, though it seems to defy time, mute and stupid.
Nice.
Thank you very much. Here's a poem about words. I have several, I'm just reading one here. Wordcraft. The words are dozing, resting from work at the nuance factory to regain their original nature after a lifetime of time and a half. Outside, flocks of poets lurk, nets in hand, ready to flick wrist and capture the brightest, the starkest, the most subtle, to compose poems with them, if life doesn't intervene. If it does, there are always butterflies and flotillas of clouds drifting by. Arrival. I arched my back against its forward inclination, like a high diving queen on a board. I sprang, meeting my feet, and rolled like a wheel of flesh over the land, touching myself like a snake, time gone, Ouroboros, we the same, Mother Earth and this churning, no yesterday, no time at all. Free of my high reach, I was beetle, I was turtle, a simple cardinal finding seed. This was arrival. No question. This was me. Well, this is a poem about, you have this blasé poem about that Red Star or that Pohi, that woman was rather blasé, and he was so thrilled. And she rolled up her window in boredom. This is the balloon Buddha. It came from a dream. Two types of people. Balloon Buddha. The balloon Buddha sitting on the rug didn't burst, but slowly diminished to the floor, then nothing, freeing the air of its form. There we were, both of us, verifying its presence, one receiving it as a sign, the other shrugging it off as a dream. Well, I wasn't going to read this one, but I'll read it. I think I have some time, yes. Thieves, an oral nightmare. Why did you steal my teeth when I only wanted to hear the music? If my mind wandered, did you have to do your work, make vanish what I've lived with all my life? They were performing a Brahms sonata, one bowing on spiked heels in a sleek red dress. The other one, pudgy, was ultimate heart at the 9-foot grad where she sat. Was it then, with your sleight of hand, you snatched my mouth's furniture? And how I wound up on the train after that, I don't know. It was rush hour, the compartments filled, and I was trapped and forgotten in a corner, unable to chew and hungry, soft and unable to fight. They say be grateful that you still have your eyes. Thank God and your stars and try to behave. Complaints are not needed. It's wartime. And keep your mouth shut. Without teeth, you're not very pretty.
Mhm.
This poem was published by this lovely woman I never met. She published Donald Lev. He said, oh, why don't you send her something? Anyhow, she published this, and before it came out, she died. Roseanne Ritzimer, a small book, and I'm going to read two poems in this that have Donald in it. Donald Lev was a wonderful poet who lived us just as Pamela Twining was such a wonderful poet. Pamela Twining was a wonderful poet, wasn't she? I was beginning to know her, and she said something, and that gallbladder is a very dangerous operation, I've heard, because it's connected to a lot of things, and a lot of things can go wrong, a lot of organs. I knew someone who had to get surgical hoses because someone did a bad job. And someone else I know, they said it was taken out, but it wasn't even taken out. And we said, well, what did they take out? Did they take out your heart? No, it wasn't her heart. She's here tonight. For Donald Lev, with thanks. I too have attempted an ascent to heaven on a ladder that didn't collapse or fail to reach far enough. Yet it isn't the lack of existence, my personal ending, or shoe size, gastronomical choice, or even, quote, the great poem, not broadcast over, quote, Poetry Central. I simply didn't know how to insert the pronged halogen bulb, and it broke off in the socket. So I gave up, and I'm cautious now. I type in the dark while you are full lit in your house with old wiring and a heating system that needs repair. You who see various sides to an issue, and when you can't reach a bulb and turn it, blame it on your limited powers and not on technology or the infinite heights that seldom escape your vision. A draft. Why cry? Then I'm going to read some new poems, and that's why cry? Will the water care? Your tears addition too small or bound to fail, like war, where words draw blanks and life is death and you can't do a damn thing about it. Shed all the tears you must, but it won't change a thing unless you drown yourself in them. Even so, who will know? It's easy to hear this, but try to see from water's point of view. Be new. I lift out a poem I wanted to read. It's called The Tyrant Dreams, and I'm going to read a few new poems. I place the tyrant dreams. The tyrant is speaking. I place little weights on the clock's hands. This fools the faithful, timelessly lost, working forever to nostalgic music. But when they awake, I am ready and move the moon. Gravity changes, and the sun starts a new journey. The earth speeds up as I choose. The constellations turn at my will, illusions sent to my believers. As I sit on my throne, bask in golden destruction,
Mm.
the ancient prophecy fulfilled, history me. And a light poem, thinking of Ozymandias, who Shelley wrote about, this monstrous tyrant who was being felled to the ground. And again, he is speaking. It was here for 1,000,000 years. So why did I tear it down? Replace it with my name and my sign. Was fame my goal? To be better than my kind? I disregarded everything. Even the water disappeared and the mountains crumbled faster than they should. I was God, I thought. My commands changed everything. Even the desert stopped crying. December 17th, Oaxaca. It wasn't exactly manna from heaven you received standing on the corner of Lexington and Third, but it was enough when you were choking to death and remembered you were wearing the same coat you had on a month before and pulled from its pocket the little pack of honey you bought from a street vendor that day, tore it open with your teeth, sucked and swallowed it, and was saved. The 765th miracle in your hectic life. Evora, Cesaria Evora, a great singer from West Africa. I heard her singing. I was in this little restaurant in Mexico, and I hear this voice I haven't heard in years. I said, "That's her, that's her." Evora. On a far continent, amidst the noise, you hear her voice, no other. She is the one who quells the pain, lifts spirits where there is no rain. Across the globe, from another realm, she's alive. We receive. She died a few years ago. Adolescent gymnast, 8 p.m. From the middle of the diagonal street, I saw her doing cartwheels on a strip of sidewalk covered with cardboard, practicing her art and keeping her hands clean. Was this an act for next day's pedestrians and a few coins of appreciation? Or was there no floor space where she lived? I don't know. Only that as I turned the corner, I gave her a thumbs up and she knew I saw her. All I could do, all I wanted to do, and couldn't. Couple more. The street, Oaxaca, July 12th. We cross paths and she asks where I'm going. I don't know, I reply. She sighs with understanding. Asks my age. I tell her. She blesses and wishes me long life on her way to buy her husband sneakers. The street is empty, my steps are slow, fill the hours with in-betweens, prepare for the next miracle. When I remember the 3 little girls lost painting watercolors, 5, 7, and 9 years old. Walking around. And that's right. Those girls I went and took a watercolor class with them. They were terrific. Beautiful. Walking around. It's a true story. A deep night's sleep and another sunrise. I cross a quiet street and reconstruct my life, piece by piece. First there's a crime scene, then bright stars appear at night, and magic words. Hands wave wildly from a window, call me in to the table. I join them and we are one. Name ourselves, tell our tales. When they leave, I move to where they sat and write how their exuberant hands beckoned me in, and I say, let everyone love without measure, and may the sun fill and change us all each day for the better. Two more. I returned to Mexico. I did it there a year. It was the best year of my life. I was 19. On returning to New York City as a youth, I took it personally, failed to forget myself. I didn't accept where I was supposed to be. I couldn't take it, didn't want it. I bore it and pretended it wasn't there. Oh, magic, oh, words, oh, pencil, hieroglyphics. The burden of time was released. And finally, March 15th, a view of manifest destiny. The sock I wore to ward off a callus was better than the one I wore to Texas, but never reached. I was not going back to the land they stole before I was born, where they changed everything. I bear them no ill. Many good people live there, along with descendants of thieves and slaveholders. What do they have to do with what happened before they lived? Still, I stay away from that state with changed names and a different language. I am content to live south of the border where I was born when I was 19 years old. Thank you. And by the way, I did translate, someone helped me, accent, I want to try, put your poems in Spanish. So I wrote some in Spanish, and then there were some translations of poems from English to Spanish, which are my poems, and it came out as a Kindle. And this was a facsimile because I gave a reading in Mexico. And so it really looks like a book and it's a Kindle, and it's very nice to have someone offer to do that for me. Beautiful, generous people. They really are generous people. They don't separate from the one they're talking to. They look at your face and not over your head to see who's coming next. And they're great. Thank you very much. I appreciate you creating it.
That is Roberta Gould. Hi, Roberta. Nice, Roberta.
Thank you very much.
That was great. Yeah, she dropped a bunch of stuff. I'll get it all. And we'll sell it. What do I bid? This is where the dead people live? I love that line. That was a great line. Yeah, there's more. You want them?
Yeah, that's a list of people who are here. It's nice.
Shall we take a 5-minute break? That sounds like a consensus. Any objection? Okay, 5-minute break, and then we'll do open mic. If you haven't signed up and you want to,